Hey, beautiful fragrance people, how y'all doing? How's the fragrance world? How's the fragrance life? So I know I didn't. I not only did not announce this and schedule this live, I also failed to do also another important thing. I also, I don't know if I told you Friday. If y'all heard, I should have mentioned it at the beginning of that live, but here I am, and I did show up a little bit late. So hopefully y'all ready. Hopefully y'all forgive me. We'll see who pops in here. We'll see if anybody wants to chat about fragrance right now. But this week has been kind of crazy. I got to visit my brother. It was a wonderful time, and I don't know. I haven't seen him in a while. That's what kept me pretty busy this weekend, along with everything else I'm trying to do in my life. So, yep, it's been a pretty good weekend, and it's beautiful weather. It might rain on me, but we'll survive. We'll pull through. But what's your scent to the day, everybody? I see some people popping in. Again, I want to say sorry I did not announce this. Hey, Centurion, thank you for stopping by. You're awesome. Love your channel. What's your scent of the day, my friend? Honestly, I was spending some time earlier today looking at Fragrance by CA, considering what I might buy. I really want that Intense Cafe Ristretto, but it's sold out everywhere that has a good deal. Some of the things I want, that's a good price, it's hard to find them. You know, they're always sold out. People know what the good stuff is. So, how you doing, my friend? How you doing? For me, I don't know. Things have been going okay. Things have been going all right. Anyways, fragrance wise, I gotta say that I am getting to a point in my collection where I'm starting to dabble into the world more of niche. I'm starting to get into the Montals and the Mansaras. I guess those fragrances that are segues or help you step into the niche world. I've definitely stepped into the niche world. Y'all have seen my reviews. Y'all have seen my content. But like purchases wise of actually owning bottles, I'm starting to get more comfortable with those fragrances, and maybe in the future, if I actually have a little bit more of a budget, maybe I can afford some of the niche. I'll never buy a lot of niche. I you know not a lot. I'm just picky. Not a lot of niche fragrances really are crazy, just crazy big loves for me where I'm willing to spend that kind of money. So DFW Shade, happy to see you, Joe and the Centurion again. Danger Perfume Cologne from Roja. To me, that's the most mass appealing Roja that I probably smelled. I think I told you all that. Besides the Elixir for the women and the Elysium for the men, that's probably the most mass appealing one of the bunch. Probably the biggest compliment getter. A lot of people kind of criticize it because it might not be the longest lasting fragrance, but it's a little bit better as far as wearability, and if you're looking for compliments and something that smells modern. Again, I do feel like a lot of Roja fragrances do have a little bit of that classic feel or that classic touch to the DNA, kind of like a lot of Guerlains do. So that might be a positive for some of y'all, and that might be a negative. It really depends on who you are, what kind of fragrance lover you are. Centurion says, Scent of the Night is Aaron Terrence Hughes Onyx. I have not tried any of his fragrances. I have watched a few of his reviews. From the sound of it, from what it looks like, he's very passionate. He's very emotional, and it looks like he has a great nose on him. I'd like to test his fragrances. I don't know if they ship to the USA yet. If they do, they're probably expensive for the samples, but I think he had one that had a lot of coffee or a lot of chocolate. And y'all know I'm always into those chocolate coffee scents, trying to find a good one. So let me know how that is, Centurion. Bravius says, hello, Ben. Good to see you again. Well, I'm back at it again. I'm happy that y'all decided to stop by, pop in. Even though, again, y'all got to forgive me, I did not announce this one. I tried to schedule things in the morning, but I got up pretty early this morning. I went fishing and shooting with the family. And then, you get distracted, things happen. So forgive me for that. I appreciate all of your love, my friends. Let's see. Randy's here. Hey, Randy Hater. Oh, you smells good. Eugene's in the house. Hey, my friend. How you doing? I salute you or hail you. I don't know what the right word is. How you doing, my friend? Jay Z. What's up, Ben? The scent of the day is YSL Cure. Is that one of those gold bottles? Is that one of their higher end ones? YSL Cure. I've heard about that one. But you smells good, Eugene. How you doing today? What's your scent of the day? How's the fragrance life doing for you? For me, I do spend my limits every month or two, but I'm kind of getting to the point where I don't know. I've where I might be looking at niche to possibly buy a few niche here and there, but again, I think people should buy what they truly love and what fits their collection. And I'm trying to be practical about my collecting. I'll still buy fragrances and I'll still smell fragrances, especially I'll still continue to get samples. But in the future, I'm going to be buying less fragrances. I found a lot of fragrances that I like. I found a lot of fragrances that I love. My collection, and I don't even have 100, is very, very full, and I could be very happy with what I have. If I wouldn't even have to buy anything in the future. But there's always new fun fragrances to try. There's new fragrances to explore. It says, looks like you woke up from a nap. I am kind of tired. I do have to be honest. I woke up this morning. I probably got 6 hours of sleep last night, and and the cat kept turning on the laptop light, so I probably got closer to 5 hours of sleep. So I probably do look tired. Sorry about that. Saw um, again, y'all do abbreviations. I'm terrible with those. Aaron Terrence Hughes. Okay, took me 5 seconds. Added to Max Aroma. Oh, really? I did not know that. They must be doing well, and Max Aroma. So you should be able, or we should be able to get them in the USA fairly easily. That's good news. Thanks for sharing that. Maybe if they have samples, maybe he'll do those decants. Maybe I might have to go for some of his decants to know if he's decanting those. Scent of the day is Maison France Courgeon Aramis. I think that's how you say it. Great choice. I haven't found a Maison France Courgeon that I've fallen in love with yet. I want to test more of them in the future and find one that I truly love. So I'm hoping that I do. I want to have a fragrance from every major brand and fall in love with them. So at least maybe that's a little bit of that backbone of a collector. Maybe I do have a little bit of it in me. I mean, there's got to be some of it in me if I have over, I don't know, 50 fragrances. So, let's see. It says, have you tried Back to Black by Killian? Since you mentioned coffee and chocolate. Honestly, I don't think I have. Is that the one that was criticized as kind of a little bit of a copycat of Amen by Mugler? I think that might be the one, and I honestly just haven't tried a lot of oh, all the Killians. I've tried a number of them, and I don't know. Again, when I have to pay for samples out of my pocket, and that's an hour worth of work, for me, not making a lot or a good meal, and I don't love the. If I've tried 3 or 4 Killians, I don't know. I'll try more of them in the future, but I just haven't fallen in love with them. For me personally, so far. So we love you, dude. Salute. Thank you, Bravius. I appreciate that. Sorry if I get distracted. All the dogs and noises always distract me. But thank you for the love, my friend. Eugene says, sent to the day is Boise de Portugal. And I bought some new things after going 2.5 months of not buying anything. Did you intentionally go on a spending haul, a spending, I don't know what you call that, drought, a stop spending, an anti-spending spree? I kind of feel like I need to go on one of those. I need to sit back with my collection. I've bought a lot of things recently. I have a lot of fragrances, and I need to figure out what I truly love. But there are a few fragrances that I might buy here or fairly soon, like Starry Nights. I love that fragrance by Montal. If you're a musk fragrance lover, you definitely gotta check that one out. But there's not a lot of fragrances besides some of the high end fragrances that I have to save for that are really, really entertaining me and I really want to buy. So I want to save up for Renaissance by Zerjoff. That's definitely one I really want in the collection. And there's a number of niche fragrances that I gotta try. There's just go to Lucky Scent. You could spend hours and hours at Lucky Scent and look at all those niche fragrances and all these things that sound fantastic, and they have stories and supposedly have high quality. And you could spend hours, over there on LuckyScent.com. So I'll get there one day. See, what did you guys shoot? Handguns, and stuff? Yeah, we did some. We did a lot of the pew pews. I don't even know if I should talk about that on, but we yeah, we don't really hunt too much. It's a really rare occasion if we ever go hunting, but we definitely like to practice. But it's a rare occasion. I really haven't gone shooting in over a year, and we needed to practice up on handgun wise. So yeah, it was really funny. We were all not doing very good, and we got a little bit refreshed, and then we actually started doing better. If some, I don't know if y'all are into, that kind of stuff, but I don't know somebody who's really proficient saw us the first time at 7 yards, 10 yards, and we were hitting like 5 inches, they'd laugh at us, and we weren't using bad pistols either. Eugene, you loving the BDP Boisa de Portugal? That's a really good fragrance. It's one of the best from the house. It's a great. If y'all don't know about Boisa de Portugal and you like fougères, do yourself a favor and try that fragrance. I think that you will like Boisa de Portugal if you do like more green, mature, masculine fragrances. It's not bad, that's for certain. The price is what scares you. It scares me with a lot of sense. Check out the review on the Back to Black by Big Beard Business. Yes, crush the box. F the box. I think that is a must for you. I'll have to give that one a try. I'll have to give it a look over. That might be the one Killian that I fall in love with. Maybe I've been avoiding love my whole life. That's probably a true story. Bravius says, I've seen your new preview about a cheap perfume. I really want to share on my FV face. Is it Facebook something? Cheap perfume as next. Yeah, we'll definitely share it. I mean, go for it. Which fragrance was that? I do try to showcase a lot of affordable fragrances. Which one is entertaining you? Team Dawn, Ogladon. I don't know what that is. That sounds like a dinosaur or something. Hope you're doing well, Ben. Appreciate you, bro. Hey, Fragrance Journey. I appreciate you too. Y'all are some awesome fragrance reviewers in here. Eugene, Fragrance Journey, and who else was in here a second ago? Uh, Eugene. There must have been somebody. Forgive me, Centurion. I must have missed somebody. And Fragrance Journey. So, yeah, y'all are awesome. And I love your work, man. I did notice today, I did go over your channel. I was watching some of your videos. I noticed that you just hit 2K, or maybe you're just about to hit 2K subs. So, congrats, man. You might be growing faster than I am probably at this point. Who knows? You might be another guy that shoots past me. I know that's not the biggest deal. I know that doesn't matter that much, but I salute you and congratulate you on your success, man. Sorry, little. I know I can hear the dog behind me. They're funny. Uh, it sounds like a great time with the family. Yeah, it certainly is, and I certainly believe in self defense. So it's always good to know that you know how to handle something and to be ready if if you ever are in a dangerous situation. With crazy stuff that's going on in the world right now, people destroying people's property and houses and even murdering people. You got to be careful these days. We are live. Yes, we're live, Casey. Very live indeed. How you doing, my friends? How you doing? How's the world like looking to you? Uh, what's your scent of the day, everybody? I do see 13 people are here. If you would like to support me, and y'all know what to do. Give me a thumbs up. If that, I think that helps YouTube know that you actually like what you're seeing. So, fragrance wise, I don't know. I am a very creative person, and I am starting to feel, and y'all know that I want to start my own brand. I'm starting to really, really feel like I need to get to the point where I got to build my own company up. So, I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I am gonna try to do a lot of things in house. Sorry about that, but I am going to actually do a lot of things. I'm not gonna be mass produced. I'm not going to be selling on Lucky Scent because I won't play with IFRA right. I'm going to buy a bunch of ingredients, and I'm actually going to start tincturing and making my own, natural ingredients for my fragrances. How does that sound? I hope that y'all will encourage me and maybe support me if you can in any way in the future because I do want to make my fragrance company a reality. So we'll see how that works out. I'm gonna buy some ingredients, and I've been at tincturing resins and different types of incense, but I want to do a little bit more. But it's y'all know it's always expensive. It's very expensive to do any of this. Just to be in fragrances is it's expensive. Scent of the day is Calamot. Calamot's great. Calamot Black, great fragrance. Very strong on that oud, slightly spicy side, and definitely gourmand as well. I really do want to get that Calamot Black one day. Really good stuff. Bond number 9 is Eau de New York today. My goodness, Eau de New York. I'm trying to remember. I don't know if I've tried that one. Were you the same person who mentioned that one to me, or was that somebody else? Y'all know that as far as the Bond number 9 goes, I think that a lot of them are very overpriced. But if you can find them for 120, or even cheaper, if you do get lucky, some of them are not bad at all. Ches Bond is probably one of the most mass appealing ones and one of the most likable ones of the bunch. And if I was to recommend a Bond number 9, y'all know that I probably would recommend Ches Bond. So if you create your own frags, 2 words, sample pack. I definitely feel you there. And sending the fragrances to the community as well. Getting the community involved is definitely something I will do. Hopefully, other people want to review my fragrances, but they are going to be more on the natural side. I don't know if I'm going to make them sprayable because I don't want to deal with alcohol, and if I do end up shipping anything internationally, you have to get a hazardous materials license and have to worry about all kinds of problems if you ship anything with alcohol in it. So, O'Day, New York. Summary: it's a clean citrusy scent. I live in the tropics, so it's nice. Yeah, if you live in a very hot, humid environment, more citrus, more simple citrus fragrances tend to do very, very well. And I do live in a humid, hot environment. Right now, there's some shade, there's some storm clouds over. But a couple of days ago, I think we hit 90, or at least it felt it did with the full sun. But yeah, you're pretty hot over there too in the tropics. Do you mind telling us where you live? I love meeting people from all around the world. I love Jamaican accents. Um, I haven't met too many people in person from the tropics. I'd love to meet more of them. Awesome people. And of course, it makes you sometimes think of the Pirates of the Caribbean and that kind of stuff. Rum and sugar cane and spices and gold, all that good stuff. So, anyways, I don't know. How do y'all feel fragrance wise? Are y'all really do y'all have really big collections? Do y'all have a few fragrances? What are y'all searching for? For me personally, I'm kind of gotten to the point where I have a lot of gourmands. I have a lot of my masculine fragrances I like. I have enough fragrances to that are boozy. I might find something in the future that's chocolatey. I have my enough coffee scents. I don't know. I'm kind of getting to the point where, you feel somewhat fulfilled. It's fun to try new things, but as far as needing anything, I, again, I don't need fragrances. I don't need too many more. Oh, Hawaii. Oh, wonderful place. Mm. I wonder, what's the fragrance culture like in Hawaii? Do people wear a lot of fragrances? Are you that smooth guy wearing fragrance and nobody else is, or is there a big fragrance culture there? Are there traditional perfumes with flowers, or I know that Hawaii has all kinds of beautiful flowers. Are there traditional perfumes made of any of those, or anything like that? Can never have enough gourmands. I kind of feel you that way. I'm always tempted to get another Mancera, even though some of them are similar. They're not the same, but they're almost are. I'm always tempted to get another one, and I don't need it, but I'm definitely in the future going to get that Intense Cafe Ristretto from Montal. That's definitely on the buy list. Serbia, where summer goes about 35 Celsius or average of 150 Fahrenheit. I didn't know Serbia was that hot. Man, that's toasting. That's on fire over there. Do you like it over there? What's the world like in Serbia? And again, I love different cultures and people from all around the world. Thank you for tuning in. Sometimes I have people from Arabia tune in, and I don't know how they learned English so well, but I'm kind of honored, that people would watch me from, all across the world. Such a different place, different people, but yet they still, want to watch me and consider me a friend. So thank y'all for that. Technology blesses us with the ability to do this. So Casey says, last week I ordered Amen Pure Malt per your recommendation. I debated between Pure Malt and Pure Tobacco. Do you mean Pure Havana? Pure Malt and Pure Havana? Did you end up liking Pure Malt? I was kind of mentioning Pure Malt because I'm not sure, but I do think it might be a little bit more mass appealing than the Pure Havana. But they're both pretty similar in likability. They're both, I think are pretty solid recommendations to just about any guy. Maybe the younger crowd might not like the patchouli. I mean, if you were to, I mean, maybe a guy who's younger than 20 years old might not appreciate those scents. Maybe he wants a really light, fresh scent. But those are great scents. I hope that you like your pure malt. So, absolutely not. That weather is awful. 105 or whatever. That was crazy. That's crazy out there. You're an international fragrance super. Well, I guess so. I don't think of myself as that, but a centurion. I, I I guess I am, but I usually don't try to play myself up as a guru or anything. I only test, I learn, and I smell, and I know what I know. But thank you, man. You're too nice. My pure malt should arrive today. Well, you got to let me know how that fragrance smells. You got to reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram Messenger and let me know how it goes. I'm excited to hear what you think about it. It's pretty nice, and if you like boozy scents, a little bit of boozy quality to your scent, you'll like it as well. So Centurion, I like him because he's honest in his reviews. Hey, Red Barons, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Again, that some people out there don't like it because sometimes I do get things for free. But I tell y'all if I get things for free, and I don't want to beat this dead horse again. But there are people out there who do get things for free and they're not telling you. And if a lot of people, if you don't want to support me, you don't have to. But some of a lot of, I don't know how many of them, but a lot of these people out there are getting things for free. And, you're going to keep supporting them and you just don't know, that they're just not telling you. They're not being forward about it. So I at least try to tell you, and you can kind of evaluate for yourself. The old adage I say, take it with a grain of salt. My review. So that's how I put it to y'all. Says I also ordered 3 fragrances 2 weeks ago per your recommendation, but they should arrive today as well. Bulgari Extreme, Terre d'Hermes, and Guerlain Vetiver. Yes, I remember talking to you about those. I hope that you get them, and I hope that you love them. I think that they'll serve you well, my friend. Centurion says, "Thank you, sir." No problem, man. What have you been buying, Centurion? What have you been getting into? I showed you all fragrance haul. I did buy a couple other fragrances, and I did have some more. I had 2 indie fragrances come in the other day, and I had 4 indie oils come today. So I'm really tempted to put together a giant fragrance haul for you guys. If y'all would like to see that, let me know. If y'all want to see a big fragrance haul, I think it'd be pretty fun. But let me know what you want. I got Ferragamo Umo recently at your recommendation. Did you like it? I absolutely love that Ferragamo Umo. I know it's a little bit dessert like. I know it's kind of sweet and gourmandish, but as far as coffee scents go, in the designer world, it's one of the best coffee designer scents, in my opinion. It lasts a pretty good long time. In my experience, other people like it. It's a pretty good compliment getter if that's what you're going for. And I think it's a great fragrance. I really do. But what else? What else is on your mind, my friends? For me personally, I don't know. I've kind of been in a mood where I just want to create things, and I'm kind of want to step away from the designer fragrances, and even sometimes the niche. And I don't know. I might be feeling like I want to take a hiatus. I'm not gonna do one, but in regards to the fragrance world, and I want to say this in the best way possible. I want this to be taken in a very good way. There's great fragrance reviewers out here, like Fragrance Journey popped in. Maybe he's busy. Maybe he's not watching. I mean, maybe he's still watching. I don't know. The Centurion's here, and who knows? Solano might pop in. He's always a cool guy. But also with the fragrance community, I've also felt like I've kind of gone back to my roots where I'm kind of doing what I want to do. I will do tag videos here and there. And some people get annoyed at me in the fragrance community because I will chat with people on text during Messenger. I am willing to do lives, but I'm not eager to like text or call and be super buddy all the time. And I don't try to chat with people, and I certainly don't get into the fragrance gossip or any other gossip. And I kind of keep to myself, and that's what I did when I started fragrance. And I've kind of felt like I'm getting more to that, where I'm kind of buying things sporadically and doing my own fragrance journey instead of trying to be a fragrance reviewer and not really trying to force myself to follow into trends or fall in line with what other people are reviewing or what other people think regarding a fragrance. And I hope that y'all enjoy that. It's good to have community, and community is great, but also a little bit of a reason why I feel this way. And again, I don't want to. Again, some people tried to accuse me of sounding like I don't know, like I always think I'm the victim or something. But I have reached out to an awful lot of people, and I don't want to say all these things again. But I had maxed out my followers on Instagram at one point. At least as far as I could tell, I was followed, subbed, and watching every video from everybody on YouTube. And I even got involved and was looked at a couple of blogs, only a handful, but I even tried to look into the blog perfume sphere of people and influence. And not even 10% of people reached back to me. And the fragrance community is a wonderful place. The fragrance community overall can be very rewarding, but I still feel like we're not inclusive enough or loving it enough of each other. And sometimes, that kind of motivates me to take back because I'm a person who tends to give and give and give. And when that's not, if that's not received, or if I give too much of myself, then I have to kind of recharge. So I'm kind of in one of those recharge kind of moods right now because I put out myself big time. A lot of these big reviewers might think that I, kind of avoid them or I don't talk to some of these guys, enough. But I reach out to almost anybody and everybody, and I'm constantly trying to make new friends everywhere to everyone. So I hope that makes sense. I try to treat everyone equally, big, small, new reviewer, small reviewer. I do shout outs on my Facebook, page. I find new reviewers and I'll shout them out there. I probably should do another big shout out video. But again, I've been pretty conflicted because I've reached out to some of these people. Some people are amazing. I do make good friends here and there with some of these people, and some of them are friendly. But some people just aren't. And some of the people I've made friends with, once they pass me in subscribers, which again shouldn't matter very much, they really stop talking to you as much, or they stop being involved with you as much as they used to. So I don't know. It's a funny world we live in. It's a really funny world. So let me catch up with the comments. I just wanted to get that off my chest a little bit. I love the fragrance community, but I still feel like there's a lot that we can do to come closer to each other and befriend each other and get to know each other a little bit. A lot of people from different walks of life with different fragrance, who smell different fragrances and are exploring different scents. And honestly, there's a lot of fragrance reviewers out there who are reviewing some of the undiscovered fragrances like myself. And I'm like, where is the fragrance community? So, and they might get one comment or two comments on a video and very few views. One of these guys is reviewing like a Riche L'Adore fragrances, and which to me, I actually really want to learn about those scents. But he gets very little support. So I hope that the fragrance community is a bigger force to be reckoned with, and maybe gets a little bit more, a little stronger, so we can support these people who are really exploring fragrances and finding new fragrances and are really passionate about fragrances instead of, playing top 10 list and mass appealing and all that stuff. But I suppose that's what most people want. I guess. See here. Yeah, I'm liking it. I'm glad that you do, Cyanide. Centurion says, My Histoires de Parfums, how do you say that? Marquet de Saw, de Sade, arrived and was gifted by Zaharoff Signature pour Homme. Oh, and you were gifted it too. Oh, okay. Yeah, Centurion, that's awesome. George over there, George Zaharoff's a really friendly guy. I've always felt like if you're gonna start a brand, that you need to work with people who are actually passionate about your fragrances, who actually, might understand fragrances better than some of these influencers. And he's done a really good job of that, of reaching down, getting a lot of exposure, and really trying to reach the people who are truly passionate about scents. And his fragrance is a darn good one. It's great for the office. It's great for a mature man. It's a great business scent. Makes you. I've always said it makes you smell like the CEO. It's a great scent. If y'all wonder where my bottle is, I gifted it to my dad for Christmas. It's his first oud fragrance in his collection. And when I let him smell, when I first let him smell that one, he was really impressed by it. So I knew I had to give it to him. I think it's a great scent. It's a little heavy for the lavender on for me personally, and it's a great scent though. But my dad absolutely is crazy for it. I had Ferragamo Umo signature in my bag, but I sold it out. I was thinking a leather fragrance. Yeah, the Umo signature is a flanker in the black bottle. It's a little bit more leathery. It's not near as sweet. The coffee doesn't come out as much, and honestly, it didn't perform as well. Some people seem to say that the signature performs better than the Umo, the regular one, and in my experience, it didn't. I ended up selling my Umo signature as well. Um, a lot of people seem to really like it, and more power to them. But I think the Umo is the regular one is the better scent. Um, if you are you asking for leather fragrance recommendations? Can you talk about John Varvatos vintage? If you want any leather fragrance recommendations, I can help you. I definitely love leather fragrances. I really like Polo Supreme leather. I don't know if that one's completely discontinued. It might be at this point, but if you can find it for $60 or less or so, it's a little bit softer. It's a little bit more of almost like a date appropriate, fall fragrance. But I really do like it. Can you talk about John Varvatos vintage? It's a fragrance that's mostly more of like a deep boozy rum, and it's spiced. It has a really nice spice to it, and it's mostly of just like a smooth leather, and the leather isn't overtly rich. It's like slightly aged leather, and it doesn't really have that new car leather seat kind of smell. It doesn't have anything really like that. So if that's what you're expecting, it's a little bit mature. It does feel a little bit like aged. Maybe it feels a tiny bit on the dark side, but it does have a musky quality that comes through with John Varvatos vintage. I do have to say that it's one of my favorites. It's hard for me to decide between it and Dark Rebel Rider is probably my favorites from John Varvatos, but probably vintage is my favorite. It's a little bit mature. Again, if you're a younger guy, younger than 25, it might not be for you. If you're younger than 20 years old, I don't know if vintage would work for you, but don't let me discourage you. If you're a very mature guy and you like those kind of spicy, boozy vibes, it might work for you, my friend. Dean says, Ben, brother, can you move the camera perhaps? The sun is blinding. Yeah, I'm sorry. Is it a little bit better? Is it a little bit better now? I know the sun is sunsetting right behind me. Sorry about that. um, is it better now? The sun's going down a little bit. Any idea about light blue? Love is love. I don't know why it gets so much hate from people. Maybe ice cream note. I'd love to hear from you. Honestly, I haven't tried that one yet. I think Dolce Gabbana light blue fragrances get a lot of dislike because, as far as people who are deep into fragrances, it's just not a very unique fragrance DNA. It might not smell the most unique, and a lot of Dolce Gabbana light blue flankers are not very different from one another. So they probably feel like it's not very justified. That's probably the case. Some people might dislike it also because of the name, because they're trying to essentially market to maybe I don't know that type of audience. Love is love. I'm not sure who it's exactly marketed towards. Maybe it's the polyamory group out there. And respect to them. Maybe the LGTB community. I'm not sure who, but I respect them. Power to them with their lifestyle. But maybe I'm not sure, but maybe that's a part of it. For me personally, a lot of the flankers just aren't very different from one another. Sometimes they don't really justify each other. So, it's one thing if a brand comes out with a flanker and it is kind of unique, it is a big departure, but all of the Dolce Gabbana light blue fragrances are not very different at all from each other. So, I think that's the problem. For me personally, again, you'll probably know, but Swimmy Lapari is my favorite. It's very salty. It smells like a sea breeze. That's how I like to put it. It's very heavy on the Ambroxan, but it's my favorite, by far out of the bunch. I think Volcano is pretty darn good. That's definitely one I've been considering buying. But a lot of people seem to like the Stromboli. If you like woodier notes, if you like things like Aqua de Parma Colonia with central woods in the dry down, you might like Stromboli, but it's actually getting hard to get. Um, I think it has kind of a cult following behind it. It's kind of funny. Let's see here. Can you talk about Bulgari Man Extreme? Bulgari Man Extreme. Um, which one is that? I'm trying to get in my head. I have Bulgari Man in Black. I have Bulgari Man in Black Cologne. I have Bulgari Man in Black Noir. Um, no, what's it called? I'm trying to remember how it's said. It's like it's Noir something. I can't remember. It's a smaller 2 ounce bottle. It has damask rose in it. It's a little bit more of a leathery scent. Oh, you're talking about Bulgari Extreme. I'm tired, guys. Forgive me. Bulgari Man Extreme. Vetiver Haitian Vetiver Dry Down has a cactus note, has that melange, just like Max Forte says, of citruses on the top. Orange, lemon, and lime, I believe it is. It's fairly long lasting. It'll probably give you 6 hours. If you like those kinds of scents and you're tired of aquatics, I do think it's a really nice scent. I think Bulgari does do a pretty good job with quality, and their fragrances do smell a little bit classy. So you can still find that one for $35 odd. I think it's a good one, but definitely give it a go. Give it a chance. If it does look good to you. As far as vetiver scents go, if you like vetivers, I think it's definitely worth a try as well. So, what do you think about Lalique Homage à l'Homme? It's related and similar to not. Is it related and similar to Encre Noir Lalique? I have not tried the Lalique Homage, but as far as I know, and I could be completely wrong, I haven't tried that Lalique, but it's more of a citrus scent. I don't know if you've tried either of those, but the Encre Noir is a very dark, inky vetiver fragrance. It's infamous for smelling like ink, like out of a pen. So I don't think they'd be very similar at all. If you're looking for things that are fresh, there's a bunch of great scents. You could definitely go for Mancera Soleil, or I think there's one called like Ode Soleil or something to that effect. So, yeah, you could go for that one. If you're looking for things similar to Encre Noir, there's Wonder Oud by Comme des Garçons, and you might like Zeno. I really love Zeno by Davidoff for the money. You also might be interested in Oud for Greatness. I'm not a big fan of it, especially for the price, but some people out there seem to really love Oud for Greatness. To me, Oud for Greatness is a oud for people who do not like oud and do not like the smell of oud, so they want something that's kind of like an imitation, in a way. So nothing against it. More power to people who enjoy it, but it's not really much of an oud fragrance. Um, let's see here. Ben, the sun over your head makes you look like Jesus. I don't know how to respond to that, but thanks for that. I'm not Jesus, but hey, man, I guess I got a halo. I'm interested in a reasonably priced leather fragrance. If you're looking for, something that's a real good value for the money, I still think Polo Supreme leather is great, but it's a little bit sweet. It has some honey. You might not be looking for something that like that. If you want something that's a little bit more rugged, you might like La Yucawam by Rasasi. It's a clone of Tuscan leather by Tom Ford. It's a great scent for the money. If you can find the leather private blend from Davidoff, it is sold out on Fragrance by CA. I noticed. Fragrance Net might have a few bottles left, but the supply of all those fragrances are drying up. If you can find that leather blend or leather essential blend or whatever it's called from Davidoff, I hear that one's really good, but it is a little bit more spicy. Um, Leather wise, if you like boozy leather, again, that John Varvatos vintage is probably your best boozy leather for the money. No doubt about that. So, can we discuss the avocado bots taking over YouTube's comment sections? Do you actually know what's going on there? I don't know if you watch some of these YouTubers like the Quartering. I don't know if you watch the Quartering, but he actually exposed the whole thing. And I don't know if y'all are very up to date on YouTube, what goes on in YouTube. I try to give y'all snippets, but here and there. Maybe that's why my channel is not very doing so well. Maybe YouTube doesn't like it that I give y'all snippets about behind the scenes things. But essentially, somebody has, who either he's a hacker or either he has a lot of maybe he worked for YouTube or maybe worked for Google. Maybe he's just a whiz kid, one of those guys who pops up and the FBI is going to hire him. It's He's figured out a way through old Google Hangouts or some roundabout way that if you sub to him, that he can use the essentially the power of your channel to like his own channel, and he's building a gaming channel, and who knows what he's doing with that kind of power as well. He's probably behind a lot of these people who are buying likes and subs and comments. So your channel essentially is going to be a part of the Borg. That I'm kind of dating myself. I am a '90s kid. With Star Trek, you're going to become a part of the collective if you do end up deciding to subscribing to the Avocado or any of these profiles that are liking, your YouTube channel with no reason and just kind of spamming you. It's not only an Avocado. There's a couple names that they go by. What one of these profiles that is definitely involved with that actually commented on one of my videos like 8 times. So yeah, be careful, guys. Nobody's losing information. Nobody's getting hacked into. He's not doing that kind of stuff. But supposedly, some people even say that if you like or respond to him at all, he could possibly use your YouTube channel for his own gain. So that's what's going on there. YouTube doesn't have a very good system of stopping or analyzing these things. YouTube is a complete mess. With they haven't cleaned up the copyright system in like a decade, and I don't want to get into anything political, but the CEO or whoever she is, Susan Wojcicki, is destroying the platform with her decisions and what she's been doing, especially over the last year and a half or 2 years. So, but it's a mess. But it's all right. YouTube, we'll pull through. Last week you had a recommendation of John Varvatos Vintage as a Bay Rum style choice. Yeah, I stood behind that. It smells pretty similar to a Bay Rum kind of smell. And if you like that like kind of aftershave and that kind of smell, if you're the guy who buys cedar shampoo and cedar soap, and spiced with all those spices, you probably will like it. Casey Jones, Molinard Cure is awesome suede leather with a touch of oud and heaps of incense. I have heard pretty good things about Molinard, especially for the quality of those purple bottles. I haven't bought one when there was a good amount of hype between the behind the patchouli vanilla or patchouli vanilla, however it's called. I almost blind bought that one, but I held off. Maybe I should have bought it, but I've never owned a Molinard. Maybe that's another one of those fragrances I still need to give a chance. Light blue Italian zest Parfum is a banger. I haven't tried the Parfum version, but that one is has a very good citrus bright top on it, but it doesn't last very well. Oh, most of the light blues don't last very well, but that one probably has the worst performance because of all the citrus. But if it makes you feel good, if it makes you feel happy, and if you want to, reapply the fragrance, it definitely is a good one. Yeah, that's it's a pretty those that's a pretty good citrus, especially on the gray market when you can get that fragrance for $40 or less. It's still a pretty good, darn good fragrance. So even despite the performance issues. How does Hoctavat by Nichane compare to Aventus? Hoctavat by Nichane is really interesting to me. It almost feels like a Tinzion Terenzi, which is an odd thing to say. It has a certain almost like flatness to it that has a little bit of a skip. With a lot of fragrances, a lot of the notes peak out, and you can really notice them in the heart and things like that. But Hoctavat, you're mostly. I have smelled it. I really have. It's mostly pineapple and a little bit of a laid back, kind of like an old kind of smoke smell to it. There is a little bit of greenness that pops out of the fragrance, and the dry down wasn't particularly remarkable to me. It is a good fragrance, it is good quality, but it's hard to describe. Aventus had a certain aroma chemical, something that it might be what if recently regulated, or just regulated even more of it. But there was a certain beauty, a certain quality of almost like an ambergris quality or a musk, or something that smelled really good in the background, almost like a cologne behind the citruses that really gave it its unique smell and quality. Hoctavat really doesn't have that, but Hoctavat's still a good fragrance. If you're willing to spend that kind of money, you might also want to look at Orion by Tinzion Terenzi. But you know, for me personally, I think Aventus is a great fragrance, and it's fun to have a Aventus smelling like fragrance, but the craze and the popularity behind it. I know that again. I realize that the whole world doesn't know about scents. There'll be people for years and years in the future to come to smell Aventus, to fall in love with it, and to wear Aventus. But I think it's too popular for what it is. It's a great scent, but does it deserve to dominate the niche market? Does it deserve to be hailed as the best of the best? I don't know. For me personally, I would rather move on. I kind of wanted the fragrance community to move on like a year ago. Now these days, if you talk about niche, people only want to talk about Aventus, and there are people who wake up every day and seem to want to argue about Aventus, which I definitely don't get that. Let's see. Hopefully, I helped you there. For again, I'll say it again. My favorite for the money, for the bang for your buck, my favorite Aventus style fragrance right now, no doubt about it, 100%, is Napoleon Cologne by Zoha. It's pretty darn good, but if you're looking for a smoky batch, y'all know about Club Day New Intense Man. Almost everybody knows about it. It's kind of dominating the market as far as clones go. At least I think they are. For the money, that's definitely the best bang for your buck. But the opening is pretty harsh. The opening is pretty synthetic. On that Club Day New Intense Man. But the dry down does smell pretty smoky, and it is pretty darn good. So light blue, Beauty of Capri gets much love as well. Can't wait to receive Italian Zest. Yeah, some of those flakers don't. I actually was considering blind buying Beauty of Capri. I think that's how you say it. Forgive me if it's probably Italian if I'm not saying it right. But also was considering buying the Volcano one. It's like yours Volcano or something like that. Honestly, I've been tempted to blind buy it, but I don't know if I need to. Um, I'm not. I'm not. Again, I'm a little bit. I'm not really a collector. It doesn't look. It looks like it'll be a little bit different, but I don't know if it'll be a different enough for me to fall in love with it. I've had living in Stromboli. I've had the original. My mom has the light, the Porfam light blue, and I've smelled a number of them. So, Tross, happy to see you too, my friend. How you doing? How's the fragrance world for you going? I'm doing pretty good over here. I'm a little bit tired, but I'm holding on. We got a full charge today. We should have a pretty good live, having a pretty good discussion. And happy to see you, my friend. If y'all don't know, Trostens is a fragrance reviewer as well. Give him a chance. Give him a, give him a look. Hopefully, you see what you like. He's a friendly, down to earth kind of guy as well. So definitely give him a chance. Have you tried Tom Ford's Fougere Platine? Is that how you say it? It doesn't get much love on the platform. You're right. It doesn't get a lot of love. I think I have tried it. For me, it was like a fougere, and it does smell pretty good quality. And it just in the opening. I think that's the problem. The opening really doesn't stand out. It just smells kind of like a high quality fougere. And then to me, the dry down becomes this interesting powdery kind of quality that kind of surrounds this fougere kind of smell, and at least that's what I remember in my mind. And that powdery nature kind of ends up surrounding, or it doesn't completely take or control the fragrance in the dry down, but it's definitely a big component, almost like a musk. It comes through and really wraps itself around the fragrance, and it's good. And I forget if I've spoken about it at all. If you like Fougeres, it's pretty good, but again, for me, Tom Ford private blends are just too expensive for what they are for the most part. Even though some of them are pretty well done, I just think it's too expensive for what it is. But that's probably why I haven't mentioned it. If I haven't mentioned it, and again, I have fragrances that I got a review from my dad's collection, from my mom's, and I already have plenty of samples and fragrances I haven't reviewed for y'all, and already have 100 videos uploaded in private. I'm set, guys. There's so much content to make for you guys. I so many fragrances, so many. By the way, do you have any hidden gems for super hot weather? Except Dior Homme Cologne, Mugler Cologne, Versace Fresh, Molecule 1 Bulgari Aqua line, Invictus Aqua, Guerlain Ideal Cologne, or Dior Sauvage Witch. Um, are you suggesting that those are hidden gems? I think you're just asking me if accept those. Okay. I really love Swing Lipari. I mentioned that one a lot. I think the Bulgari Aqua is darn good. I have mentioned Kalinga a lot by Les Artisans Parfumeurs. That one is a beautiful citrus feeling. Would do very well in the spring and the summer. It's like a bright yellow fig with frangipani. It smells a little bit like suntan lotion. Has a beautiful soft woody dry down. It's actually sold out on Fragrance by CA, and it's been sold out for a while. Also, you might like Batacuda by Les Artisans. It's one of the best citruses if you just want citruses I've ever smelled. It's very fresh. It didn't have terrible longevity regarding other citruses, but I have mentioned it in the past, but I just haven't really hyped it up. But it's one of the best citruses out there for the money, especially if you can find it for 60 odd dollars. I mean, hey, it's pretty darn good. It might smell a little bit sharp. If you smell it up close, it does have that kind of quality about it. But um, I own. Sorry for such the long comment. Oh, no problem. Feel free to ask me or comment. Respond with long comments if you'd like to, my friend. Hidden gems. I don't really know of any others. I suppose my 10 a.m. flirt by Kira NYC could work in the high heat, possibly, but I like a lot more of the rich fragrances. I like a lot more of the fragrances that are deeper, complex, darker fragrances, and I don't know. Citruses are hard for me to get behind. A lot of the designer fragrances don't do it for me. A lot of them don't smell natural. I don't love that cologne smell that much for the most part. So I don't know. I have a hard time with them. Y'all know that for the summer, I love Terre d'Hermes Eau Très Fresh. I think it's one of the best fresh designer fragrances on the market. I found Anthony One, which I showed y'all. I haven't released a review of that one yet, but it's a little bit more of it has a tiny bit of essential nature, but it doesn't really have great performance for a vetiver dry down citrus fragrance. But if you can find it on the cheap, it's a good fragrance. I got my bottle for $50, full brand new fragrance, and I'm very happy with it for $50. But Hey, what can I say? Uh, let's see. Can you link the video about avocado bots? Mark Jacoby, I cannot. If I there's no way for me to exit this or minimize my live here on my phone without exiting. So what you're gonna have to do is just go to the quartering. He's a YouTuber. Search the quartering. Like a quarter and ing, and he's a pretty cool guy. He covers all kinds of content and commentary, and he's one of the guys who's exposed a lot of things that the world needs to know. So he does a pretty good job of that, and yeah, check him out. And if that doesn't help you, if you can't find him, feel free to message me on Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger, and I'd be happy to help you after this live video tonight. So what's good, brother? Hey, Nathaniel, how you doing? Hope all is well. Are you safe? I'm doing pretty good. I'm in a little bit more of a rural town outside of the big cities. Um, COVID and anything otherwise, we're definitely strong and gonna take care of ourselves. So, yep, no, you don't got to worry about me. You don't have to worry at all. Um, what are your thoughts on Tom Ford Costa Zero Aqua? Honestly, I haven't tried the Aqua version. I love the regular version. I think it's one of the best citrus fragrances out there. It only lasted like 3, maybe 4 hours on me, and it kind of heart broke me because it's so expensive, and it doesn't last very long. If I had an awful lot of money, I might carry that fragrance around, with me with a travel atomizer because I do love the smell of it. I think it's one of the best citruses I've ever smelled. But for the money, it's just way too expensive for what it is. And the Aqua is probably a little bit more fresh, and I've heard it performs even worse. So I don't even know if I want to smell the Aqua because I probably would like it, but I probably would be heartbroken again because it's just not going to last. Fragrances that give you a scent, give sense of fragrances with oriental spices. You're looking for those kinds of scents. If you're on a budget, especially if you like the fougères, I talked about it a year ago. I don't know how many of y'all are newer to my channel, but if you haven't tried J Pur by Boucheron and you like those fougères, or if you like those spicy oriental scents, there's no doubt about it. For the money, for the price, J Pur is hands down one of the best fragrances out there. Also, Rocabar Vetiver by Hermes has some spice to it, and that's one of the best, in my opinion, slightly oriental style fragrances out there. So if you're looking for bang for the buck, hidden gems, great fragrances, give them a go. And those two will not disappoint you. J Pur by Boucheron and Rocabar Vetiver by Hermes. Definitely give them a go. Centurion says, it's late here in the UK, so guys, I bid you a good night. Have a great night, my friend. Good dreams. Have a happy weekend, Centurion. I appreciate you stopping by and showing some love. Means a lot, my friend. Wish you the very best. Casey, I just took the plunge and ordered a great Creed Green Irish Tweed. The hype was too much not to try. Did you get a sample or did you just blind buy the whole darn bottle? If you blind bought the whole darn bottle, I don't know if I should congratulate you on having enough money to do so. Hopefully, you didn't do it on credit card. But, you know, I definitely encourage y'all to buy samples if you can. I think Green Irish Tweed's decent, but I do think that they discontinued the wrong fragrance. I also agree with some other fragrance reviewers that Green Valley was the better fragrance. And for some reason, I do like green fragrances, but Green Irish Tweed, honestly, has never been my favorite. If I was to buy a green fragrance from Creed, I probably would buy Boise de Portugal. And there's fragrances like Hosier's Kaleidoscope. There's lots of great fragrances out there that I probably would like personally over that. There's also Dryad by Papillon, if y'all know what that is out there, and that is a legit green fragrance for you green fragrance lovers. Definitely go out there and get your nose on Dryad by Papillon. Tiziana's Orion is a great Aventus alternative, yes. If you want the inoffensive, the likable, safe, easygoing version, if you don't want the smoke at all, uh, Orion by Tiziana Terenzi is your baby. because it doesn't really have any of that smoke and anything aggressive, and it doesn't really have anything green about it. If you just want a compliment getter and something easygoing, Orion is for you. I purchased Lowe Asenza EDP before I knew Aventus was a thing. Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people do have different fragrance journeys, and some people come across other Aventus style fragrances and end up, liking that fragrance better than the real thing. So that's funny. Have you tried MY's Portrayal Man? Is it similar to Fahrenheit? Honestly, I haven't tried Portrayal Man yet. It's on my try list. I really want to try that fragrance. Again, I haven't been blind buying into samples that as much as I have in the past to keep myself up to date. In the past, to keep myself up to date, I was blind buying tons of samples, and I've spent hundreds of dollars on samples just to be able to experience these. I don't live in a big city. I don't live in a place where I can easily get access to these fragrances. And with my kind of budget that I have right now, um, I just can't. I've just. I want to be responsible, and I want to save up and try to build my own company. So I'm trying not to, even though I really want to try that fragrance, I'm trying not to just blind buy all these samples, left and right. So, hey y'all, about to unbox my fragrance by sea order. Bright Neroli, Robes Awake convinced me, and Musk Festival by Maison Margiela. Replica series. Uh, Definitely let us know how that goes. I don't. I think I might have tried Music Festival, but it's a very faint memory. But yeah, that Bright Neroli it's pretty good for an affordable cheapy fragrance. It's pretty good. The opening of Fougere Palatine was slightly metallic. You're right. Then the dry down is mesmerizing without too much honey. Okay, yeah, maybe that's some of the powdery quality coming through. Maybe it's like a dry honey quality. It is a good Fougere style fragrance. It's nice, but again, for the price, I don't know. And it is nice that it's a more confident. It does do an interesting twist on what a fougere fragrance can be. A lot of them are either lavender heavy, some of them are kind of citrus focused, and some fougeres just try to be powdery. But that fougere palatine did do something a little bit more different. Ends up being a little bit almost more serious smelling with a soft side, and ends up being a little bit more smooth in my opinion. So, Big Beard Business, upload a video. Did he just upload a video? Is he going live? What's your Instagram? My Instagram is Centaur Fragrance, just like here. You should be able to search me up. Y'all know how to spell Centaur. You should be able to find me. So, if you can't find me, message me on Facebook or email me if you have to. Thanks, Ben. Yeah, Trostens. All is well for me. It's hot down here in the south, so I'm breaking out the summer fragrances. Yeah, I feel you. It's been pretty hot for me as well, and I live in the south as well, so I'm a southern brother. Did you say Swimming Lipari for summer cologne? Oh yes, I did, my friend. Dolce Gabbana Swimming Lipari. If you want to smell like the ocean, if you like that salty ocean smell, and you like that ambergris type of vibe, Swimming in Lipari is for you, my friends. And it lasts a little. Again, it's not going to be the longest lasting aquatics. Citrus and aquatics usually never last, but again, it gave me like 6 hours, and sometimes if I was lucky, 7. So it performs pretty well for a fresher fragrance. It's mostly because of that ambergris, though, that musky ambergris. Les Belle Perfumes has a great deals right now. They recently reopened their website, and they're open with lots of deals. Okay, I'll have to give them a look. I'll have to give them a once over. Are you affiliated with them or something? Or are you just trying to help us out? Mark, I plan on doing videos soon. I need a real camera and a PC to download and upload. If you are doing things from the phone, that you can do that, Backup Bottle Boss. But if you want to be legit, YouTube does like to see that you have a intro. YouTube does like to see if you have some background music. YouTube is it's kind of funny, you know. YouTube is a funny place. Is your Instagram gone, Centaur Fragrance? I changed my name just like I changed it here on YouTube to Centaur Fragrance, and you don't have to put that space underneath. For some dumb reason, when I first made my Instagram name, I thought that would make my name stand out like a space, and I thought it would help things. But I figured out that it makes people have to actually put that, um, put that under dash or the under mark, whatever it's called, and it's just another annoying thing that people have to do to try to find me. So it's Centaur Fragrance, just like it is here on YouTube now. So I always liked La Belle perfumes. Honestly, I haven't tried them, or I'm not too familiar with them. So I'll have to give them a look over. I only have a Chromebook with no memory, no memory. That's always the problem, running out of memory. Um, I finally found that Bulgari Garnet for 220 and shipping and taxes. The tester's only 170. That's pretty good. That's the high end Bulgari fragrances. You know, that's a pretty good deal. It's hard to find those fragrances in general. Where's Mark? I don't know. We had Eugene in here earlier. I don't know where he ran off to. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. I'm not the right personality. Maybe I scared too many fragrance reviewers off. I speak too quickly. I don't do enough jokes like Joey Cannoli. I don't know. I'm my own person. I'm my own man, and sometimes, I guess I don't. I don't know. Maybe I don't work with people, but I try to. I love you guys. My friends in Miami. Okay, Miami man, partying it up over there, huh? Is he getting in the water like everybody else? Good sight. Okay, I'll look at that label. Thanks for sharing that with me. Honestly, I've never bought anything from them so far, but my perfume purchase on the site, but it was Ashton's list of approved sites. Okay, thanks for mentioning that. Hey Chief, I still haven't caught up with your bids, but at least I caught alive again. Yeah, nose, nose, no nose. I put out a lot of content. I put out a video 5 times a week at least. Sometimes if you're including these live videos, I put out sometimes usually about 7 videos a week. If people are really watching the lives, and sometimes I put out more than 7. So I've definitely have been very active. I try to. There's so many fragrances to review. You know, Sometimes I wish I had more time, and sometimes I wish that I could upload more regularly. That I wouldn't bother y'all. But I'm not. I'm trying to pace things out for myself and for you guys to be responsible. So, anyways, it's perfect. Mark. They pack boxes very safely, and they ship quick. They only have a 5 or 6% off code. Are their prices good? To begin with. 5%, 5 to 6% off is not very much. Hey Mark, how you doing? Backup bottle boss. GIT is the perfect blind buy. Some people, hey man, don't let me discourage you. If you love it, you love it. Cool water is almost as good for much cheaper. I definitely would be going for cool water for me personally. Yes, Boise de Portugal is gorgeous. Yes, absolutely gorgeous. Boise de Portugal is gone from all discounters. You have to pay retail. Yeah, again, with y'all know what with people not working, the supply of a lot of things are drying up. A lot of things are getting hard to get. Um, so a lot of things discounter wise, are kind of getting hard to get. But hopefully, the world is getting back to normal, and things are, we can still get our everything we need fragrance wise, and even outside of fragrance, we can get what we need. So I feel you. You know, you might have to wait a little bit on a deal. You might have to wait a little bit to get that Boise de Portugal. I blind bought the whole bottle, 3.3 ounce. Samples scare me. I always blind buy because there's nowhere for me to sample where I live. Yeah, well, yeah. If you're way outside of, I guess these urban places, and you have to pay big shipping costs, I suppose it might be better for you, but to buy blind buy. But I hope that you like it. I hope that it works for you. Samples seem too small for me to know if I like. Yeah, well, I don't know if you mess with samples a lot, but if you get a 2 or 3 mil sample, you can get a lot of sprays out of that. You can get quite a few sprays out of it, and wear it for at least 3 days, I guess, depending on how much you apply. So, if I wear a fragrance for 2 or 3 days, I can judge if I like the fragrance. for sure. So, but I mean, do your thing, man. Do your thing. Dean says, "Is Club de Nuit intense, more or less smoky than the original Aventus?" Um, the original Aventus actually wasn't that smoky as far as I know, and as far as I remember. The smokiest batches are the 2013s, and some of the 2014s are extremely birch tar heavy, extremely smoky, if I remember right. So uh, I would, I don't know. For me, Club Doing Nuit Intense is pretty close to some of the smokiest batches, but I have smelled Aventus batches that are even smokier. Believe it or not, if you get some of the smokiest batches of some of those of Creed Aventus, that some of them are even smokier. But it, I think the average person doesn't want a fragrance that is that smoky that smells like pitch black birch tar. So, if you like smoky fragrances, you'll probably will be happy enough, or happy with that fragrance. So, Ron Nelson says never tried actual Creed Green Valley, but love Central Obsessions version. Yeah, I have actually haven't tried that from them. Central Obsessions does a pretty good job. I was talking, and I do support overall the company. I talked really highly of Andy Warhol from them. I spoke really highly of Lime in the Sky, and I spoke really highly of their version of Oud Mineral. But honestly, I haven't tried their version of Green Valley. I would like to, but haven't tried it yet. I'm cheap and ask for samples in high-end department stores like Neiman and Barney's. Rest in peace, without shame. Hey man, you got to do your thing. If you need to sample that fragrance, if you actually need to try that fragrance, I mean, do your thing, man. You know, Sometimes even if you like the fragrance and you smelled it at the store, it might be good to get a sample and test it a couple days to know if you truly love that fragrance. So, I asked for samples at Sephora recently, and they told me they had to turn theirs in for COVID reasons. Yeah, I guess they have to be careful. All these companies are having to be really careful with workers and COVID and stuff. Not affiliated. No, it's just teasing you. Sephora sampling after COVID times will be funny. Yeah, eventually the world will get more back to normal. And again, I'm not. This is a fragrance channel. I'm not going to get political, but we will get we will get, you know, we'll get back to normal. Anybody who's saying that you know, social distancing is the new norm. Anybody who's saying that we need to wear masks all the time, and anybody who's saying that that is normal is not healthy for humanity. It's not it's not true. We don't need to act like this for the rest of humanity. You know, we the world had the world has overcome viruses that were much worse, and just hygiene and awareness and vaccines is what we need. We don't need to stop hugging or befriending each other, shaking hands, and all that other stuff. So, they didn't have any tester bottles of Slim Pickens. Yeah, tester bottles are drying up. That's for sure. I tend to buy tester bottles myself. I tend to want to save a buck if I can. So I'm done with this COVID. Yeah, I don't want to get into that that aspect of claiming if it's legit or not. I'm just claiming that as we go to the future, as we continue in the future in humanity, we definitely we're gonna live life, and we need to be socialize, especially mother to child, and love each other and care about each other, that kind of stuff. So I've seen things like what was that, TED Talks. I've seen some unbelievably ridiculous and false stuff spread on places like TED Talks, and I don't know who these people are. I don't know who they're involved with, but I don't think they have humanity's interest at heart. But anyways, let's get back to fragrance. Can you talk a bit about Jaipur by Boucheron? Yes, it's a beautiful, almost a slightly of like a dry incense, almost like a powdery incense in the background, but it has a very authentic, nice spiciness to it. That comes off to me more or less almost like dry pink pepper. It's a really well done fragrance. It's kind of has a cult following behind it, with reason. The EDT version and the EDP are both great fragrances. I used to have the EDT. It is a little bit more grown up for my taste, and I did end up selling it. But hey, if you like fougères or Oriental dry fragrances, it's a darn good fragrance. Um, hey, ya Benjamin, good to see ya. Hey, Carly Warley, happy to see ya, Carly. How you doing? Happy to see ya. What you smelling like? I'm happy to see that had the chance to stop by, Carly. I think I missed you on the last one or two. It's been a little while. Mark says, "Take care, y'all. Need to adult." Oh man, you're brutal, man. I'll see ya. I don't. Are you going? Are you teasing all these people who just decide to jump off? Because I was saying that some people who are in very powerful positions do not have our best interests at heart. If you don't believe that's true, I don't know how I don't know if I can help you or not. Some of these people who are powerful, and when I say that kind of stuff, I think at least I would like to think that a lot of y'all would be behind me. A lot of y'all are talking about the suppressed, the disadvantaged, and the people aren't cared about. I'm definitely behind you. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. These people high up are a lot of these people pulling the chains, pulling the puppet strings. They're the people who are, you know, doing a lot of bad. So Casey says so far in the live stream, I have Barbados Vintage Japur in my shopping cart. I'd only probably get the Japur if you like, slightly fougere, spicy fragrances. It is a good fragrance, but I do think that you have to you have to enjoy those kinds of scents. I'm in my shopping cart. Is going to be Centaur. Casey, you humble me. I appreciate your kind. I don't even know if that's kindness. Your trust in me. I support that. You make my day. Somebody bought fragrances off my recommendation. Ask away. You can ask like what you're looking for and what do you want in your collection. I'll be happy to help you. I'm like a free fragrance consultant, so they are betas except one specific man. Hey, my friend. Thanks for the love. Some people can't take even a small dose of truth. Some people can't even take a little smidgen of it. And I do try to help people. If you're going to be on my live, if you want to, have an open discussion, if people want to mention that kind of stuff, I'll try to give you all a little bit of my opinion. This is a fragrance channel, but that kind of stuff is so widespread and it gets pushed on you. Sometimes just on like my Facebook, I said a couple things and some people really disliked some of the things I've said. But when when that kind of stuff was pushed in my face 24/7 for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, months on end, and I just say an opinion that's I don't think it's even I think it's pretty factual. I don't think it's really debatable, and some people just can't take just a little bit of reality. So only way to know if I like Japur is to try it. Take the plunge. Hey man, you might have to do a blind buy. That's the only way to do it with some of these discontinued or cheapy fragrances that aren't in stores anymore. You might have to go for it. It's true. If I don't know if you like fougere fragrances, any of you guys, but I do want people to get involved with Zurius Rouge. I think that Zurius Rouge is a great fougere fragrance, and I really do think it deserves more attention. It's just amazing, guys. As more of like a 2000s feeling, like a little bit more of a modern fougere. It's really good stuff. And also, if you do like fragrances that are more fresh but yet interesting, you definitely got to give Kenzo Jungle a chance. I just got that. I showcased it on my Instagram channel today, this morning, and I bought the vintage version. I got it for $49 shipped to my door, and it's a fragrance that doesn't get a lot of love and a lot of talk. It's not highly desirable. It is discontinued as far as I know, but I'm not sure. But the prices are not outrageous, even on the vintage bottles. And I scooped one up for $49 shipped to my door, and I'm happy with it. Kenzo Jungle Pour Homme. And there is a female version. Be careful, don't buy the elephant version. That one's for the ladies. Unless you like that. I mean, hey, if you want to wear it, more power to you. But only way to know, take the plunge. Fougere, what you're saying. Rouge? What's a fougere? Oh, do you know what? Are you asking what a fougere is, Casey? Maybe you don't know. A fougere is a class, or it's a grouping of fragrances. Fougere essentially means fern or fern-like. Ferns were the inspiration and do have a little bit of this fresh, almost like clean green kind of smell to it, and it was what was inspired the name of that category of fragrances. And they're also barbershop kind of is a split or a kind of a derivative or a split off of Fougères. Fougère fragrances, traditionally or classically do have a lot of lavender, but mostly they just have to have that fern, light green kind of appeal to them. They don't necessarily have to have lavender, but yeah, that hopefully that makes sense to you. There's a certain feel, there's a certain quality about Fougere fragrances, and some people truly love them. Some people prefer different fragrance styles of fragrances. Again, I like musk, leathers, and I like, I guess, Orientals, but more on the gourmand side of things. So let's see here. Zurius Rouge seems to get positive feedback from what I can tell. Yeah, the few people who have trusted me and the few people that I can tell who have tried that fragrance really like it. It might remind you a tiny bit of Jupe, but it's much more refined, it's much more classy, and it has a beautiful cactus note. And I don't know about you guys out there, but cactus, that kind of smell, to me, it is stunning. I absolutely love that smell. Ha, Zurius Rouge. I would have never guessed how to spell that. Yeah, like Xerxes. Y'all know 300 with the Spartans. Yeah, Xerxes, like Xerxes. Rouge, which means red. Yep. Thanks for explaining, Fougere. Happy to explain. There's a lot to learn regarding fragrances, and like with any hobby, there's abbreviations, there's lingo, there's jargon, and there's even real technical terms, depending on what you're getting to with like science and anything regarding like machinery or there's a lot to learn in a lot of hobbies. So don't feel bad about asking questions. If you watch my channel, if you're a fragrance lover and you're just getting to my channel, if you just start watching and people are throwing around all these terms like fougères and gourmands and orientals and chypres, and they're talking about things that don't make sense to you, I'm here to help it, share what I know. You know, I won't be snobbish with you. I'm here for you. So, any more questions? Any more thoughts? I don't know. I went a little bit off the rails there, but I'm sorry if I did. So, is Zurius Rouge better than Japur? Do they overlap, bind one? They're completely different fragrances. I think you'd be happy, if you do like fougere, feeling or style fragrances. I think you happily could have both of them in your collection. They're not redundant at all. I don't know if I would claim one is better than the other. If you had to force me to choose one over the other, I would choose Zurius Rouge. I feel like it's a little bit more modern. I feel like it's a little bit more wearable. I like how the fragrance performs on me. The J Per, especially the EDP, might last longer, but it's a little bit one of those fragrances that has a lot of sillage but doesn't necessarily project that much. Zurius Rouge on my skin, for some reason, actually projects pretty darn well. And one of the reasons I love it so much is one of the times I wore it to a big public event, and I was all dressed up to the nines in a suit and everything. And it was a little bit warm that day, but I put on like 5 sprays, and it was reaching out there. People were smelling me like 10, 15 feet away, and I was really impressing people. I was like blowing people away. I know I smelled good, and people, that I could tell. Azurius Rouge powdery. It might feel a tiny bit powdery, but it doesn't come off that way to me. You get more of a rouge red kind of feel, kind of like the red feel in Red Tobacco by Mansara, if you smell that one. If you've never smelled a fragrance that actually has that rouge kind of feel, it's really hard to describe, but it kind of has that tone and almost like almost like a syrupiness, almost like a cherry type of feel, but it doesn't smell like cherry. But it almost has that type of quality behind it. If, if you've never smelled a fragrance like that, it's really hard to describe. It's kind of like salt. It's hard to describe the taste of salt, but definitely give it a try if it sounds good. So, Carly says, I naughtily, very naughty, Carly, very naughty. Blind bought Jean Paul Gaultier's Classique Essence. Should get it in a week. I gotta go check over there. I gotta after this. Something's going on with some of our animals. Just seeing, seems like a Carly Warley scent. Yes, very sensual, Carly. I had a pretty good run on the blind buys. I have had pretty good luck too. I always try to go to Fragrantica, read people's other opinions. Always try to watch a couple reviews on YouTube, and then I kind of mull it over. I try not to buy, you know, kind of the heat of the moment. I don't try to do that, but hey, sometimes you do, and sometimes you do, luck out. That fragrance should do you well. I have smelled the regular Classique, but I don't think I've tried the Essence. I don't know off the top of my head what it's all about. I would imagine that the Essence is a little bit more musk-like, but I'm not sure. I'll buy both Zurius Rouge, Japer, John Varvatos Vintage. Oh man, you don't have to buy just off my recommendations, but I do feel honored that you would take my recommendations. Cool. I was worried because Jupe is powdery on me. Does it turn powdery on you? Honestly, I probably have never actually let J-Per, I mean, not J-Per, but Jupe completely dry down on my skin. I did get to the dry down, but I didn't let it go through its whole life. I just don't really like Jupe. I just really, really don't. I have to be honest with you guys. Y'all know some of my opinions, but Slick Owner, hey, how you doing, my friend? Happy to see ya. How you doing, Slick? How's the business? Tom Ford Grey Vetiver is the heartbreak scent for me. I love it so much, but after an hour, it's gone. Uh, it doesn't perform very well on you. Have you tried the EDP version? And again, I don't know how you apply your fragrances, and I don't know if you saw my video on how to apply fragrances, but you get a lot of bad fragrance advice. I'm not trying to beat up on other fragrance reviewers, and I had to learn this myself. But do not spray directly on your neck. A lot of people will just do that. It's just something that people are accustomed to. Everybody seems to do it, so everybody's like a lemming, and they follow the trend. You really should be spraying like on your elbows. You could spray on the side of your neck, like you can spray on your ears. You can also spray like on your hips. If you spray on your neck here, the fragrance is evaporating really fast because it's close to your heart. This is like the highest temperature area that you have, and that fragrance is being forced into your nose. And honestly, you go nose blind really quickly. I've gone nose blind on fragrances, and I have not judged their longevity correctly. I've gone nose blind on fragrances like good batches of Aventus. Some fragrances have made me go nose blind fast. Just don't try to avoid spraying it directly on your chest like here, like everybody tells you to. I think Grey Vetiver EDT might not last that long, but it should last you longer than an hour or two. It should do a little bit better than that, but you're right. The EDT version, if that's the one you have, just doesn't perform that well. Mr. Davis, Ben, I buy from several cologne houses, and every time I spray my Dua, my nose gets clogged up and stuffy. Why is this? Well, the fragrance is it's very strong. I think they're extraits. They can, honestly. I sprayed some of my Hugo Boss Absolute, which is more of a winter fragrance today, and I put I think 2 sprays on my arm, and I actually have one of my nostrils clogged up, probably from that fragrance. I probably should wash it up, or it might bother my sleep tonight. But really strong fragrances can bother your nose. Maybe you're I don't know, sensitive to some of the notes. I don't think you'd be allergic, but if you are wearing a lot of that, if you're overspraying it, if you're spraying a lot on your chest, overwhelming your breathing, it can kind of bother you. So again, just don't spray, especially a bunch of extrait as a strong fragrance, especially directly on the chest. Just try to avoid that if you can. Um, I use the EDP of Tom Ford Grey Vetiver. What kind of oh, you have the EDP, and it still gives you bad performance. That's a shame. I do spray on the neck. Yeah, try to avoid that. Next time you wear that fragrance, try to spray some on your elbows. Some people say spray on the wrist, but you're probably working, you're probably washing your hands and doing all of that good stuff. So don't try to avoid spraying directly on the wrist. Spray on the elbows, spray on the side of the neck. You could spray in your hair, you could spray on your hips, and some people actually like to put fragrance on their back of their knees. So everybody has their own different preference, but just try to avoid directly on the chest. Jeremy Fragrance should take pointers from you in regards to how to spray fragrances. Hey, you humble me, Carly. You're absolutely awesome. I don't think he wants to. But, people, it is funny that the fragrance world is so close knit. I was the one who started talking about date night fragrances for the seasons and really seasonal fragrances in general. I was the one who really started that. And a lot of fragrance reviewers have started doing that type of content. And a lot of fragrance reviewers are starting to mention my little motto of the compliment factor. And I'm not trying to beat up on them, but, I have been copycatted. And with the YouTube algorithm, I might not ever hit it big, but again, I don't want to bring out the bones out of the closet, or bring out things that need to be buried. But when I first got to like 500 or so subs, Jeremy Fragrance, when I first started my motto, "Wear what you love," Jeremy Fragrance actually made an anti-video. He does make a lot of hot takes, and he ended up deleting his video, but he did target me, and he made a video called "Why You Shouldn't Wear What You Love." Essentially, he was trying to justify his authority and as a fragrance, I don't know, influencer, and saying that you should trust him and that you should essentially wear fragrances for compliments. And he didn't like what I was creating and my influence and what I was gonna help the fragrance community to do. He didn't really like that kind of attitude. So I guess it takes away from wearing mass appealing scents and buying off of his recommendations because Jeremy Fragrance says it's good. I want you to wear fragrances because you like it, not because Jeremy Fragrance tells you should buy it. So I guess that bothers Jeremy. And if this is prodding the beast, I'll prod you, Jeremy Fragrance. Come at me, bro. So I sometimes joke about that, but for real, nobody in the fragrance community came and tried to help defend me. And one person in the fragrance community actually came to my video and was making sure that I wasn't attacking Jeremy. It was actually trying to protect Jeremy, not help me. So, that's one reason I kind of feel myself as like a dark horse or outside of the fragrance community for a number of reasons. A lot of people just don't accept me. A lot of people have political views, and sometimes they can tell, or maybe they assume I have certain political views, and I've had to justify to people certain things, and I shouldn't have to do based on how I look, and I won't get into that. But you could assume like how I look, and then they assume something else regarding that. I won't even get into it, but it's absolutely ridiculous. We should all be focused on fragrance. I'm gonna do to the fragrance journey so far. Eight Bob original is my favorite. I like Eight Bob. Champ de Provence too, more floral. Really nice house overall. Pretty good. If you really like that house, you probably will like Histoires des Parfums as well. Great house as well. And you might want to dabble into some of the fragrances of Serge Lutens as well. My favorite from the house is Egypt, and my dad actually decided to buy that one. Egypt by H and Bob is probably, my favorite. But honestly, it's sometimes hard to decide if I like that or Polo Safari more. Anyways, I will legit spray once or twice on my arms. Yeah, definitely give that a chance. Give it a try, everybody. Get back to me, see if it worked out for you. See if you had a better experience. And honestly, I think it will help you a little bit with the projection because, your arms are a little bit outside of your body. It'll help that fragrance reach out just a little bit more. And I think it will help a little bit, to get you noticed. I spray Duas on my clothes. Okay. Well, Duas probably last you a really long time on clothes. I think those are extracts, aren't they? Thanks for the spraying tips. Happy to help KC. That's what I'm here for. 100% here for you. Mr. Davis still clogs on the side of my nose. Yeah, I have that going on too. You probably need to wash off the fragrance, maybe change your clothes, maybe take a hot shower. I have the same thing actually happening on to me right now because I sprayed an EDP concentration, like a gourmand fragrance, and it's kicking off my skin pretty strong. I can still smell it. So, does spraying on your clothes make your clothes smell the next day, or does it wear them out? Um, if you have very high quality clothes, or if you have like silk clothes or anything that's particularly sensitive, I would not recommend that you spray them. But if you're wearing average cotton clothing, you're probably not going to care about the small amount of damage that alcohol will do to it. What you do have to worry about is if it's a niche fragrance or something that has a lot of naturals in it, or certain fragrances can actually stain your clothes. That's probably the biggest thing. I've had fragrances last on clothes or jackets for 3 days or even longer. So yes, fragrances can last on clothes for hours and days upon, depending on how much you spray. I wouldn't be amazed that if you sprayed like a Montal fragrance, on your clothes or something like that, I wouldn't be amazed if your jacket smelled like that for a week. Fragrances just don't evaporate off the clothes as fast, but they do tend to soak in and last a really long time. So that's why fragrances last on clothes. When fragrances on your skin, the fragrance is projecting a lot more, so it's just not going to last as long because you're a little battery. You're heating up that fragrance. So that's what's going on. Um, Clothes and hair, yeah, and that's definitely a good recommendation. You get better longevity on the clothes, that's for sure. If that's what you're looking for, Jeremy, fragrance is the worst. You keep a substantive discussion up front. Jeremy, fragrance is all flash. Well, thank you for the compliment. I feel that way, but I try not to beat up on other people. I had one other fragrance reviewer tell me, essentially on a live to my face, and I know that he was emotional at the time about something else, and I actually was trying to be nice and help the guy, but he told me that I was boring to my face, and I personally. I don't want to beat up on other fragrance reviewers, and we all have a journey. We're all learning, and there's a bunch of us. There's so many wonderful people in the fragrance community, but I personally don't feel I'm boring. We all have different opinions, but sometimes I feel like other people's content is kind of boring compared to mine. I can speak very consistently. My mind is going. My mind right now is humming, and it's going like an eight cylinder engine. It's hitting on all cylinders. I'm here. I'm speaking well. I'm speaking directly to you. I'm straight to the point. I'm being helpful, and I can juggle all kinds of thoughts. You know, and I am kind of in the dark right now. You could complain about that. I don't have a nice studio, but hey, hopefully you like what you're hearing. I probably am going to wrap this up soon. I am in the dark right now, but hey, hopefully that doesn't matter too much, eh? If Carly's here, do you like that? Slick Owner says, do a beast mode. I have Fierce. Not gonna lie, it lasted on my shirt 6 days. Yes, you can have fragrances on your clothes last a very long time. I agree with Casey. Yes, Casey is right. Kirby, Allison the Best is doing a live stream with the rep from Florist Tuesday. Thoughts on Florist? Which one would I blind buy? Again, I would recommend that you get a sample if you can. But if you like more fresh fougere fragrances, you might be happy with some of their other offerings. But for me, as a leather fragrance lover, there's no doubt in my mind that Leather Oud is the best one so far from the House of Florist. I would love to see Florist make some gourmands. I would love to see the House of Florist make some deep patchouli fragrances. I would love to see the House of Florist dive into, some other fragrances. Maybe a honey. They already have honey oud, but maybe more of like a honey centric powdery fragrance for the ladies with florals, and maybe make some more interesting stuff, because I think they got a lot of potential. There's houses out there that release too many fragrances too often. They can confuse you sometimes, like Montal fragrances. And there's some houses out there that put out a fragrance like every 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and people forget about them almost because there's never a new release. So I agree with Casey. Kirby. I agree. Allison Kirby, the best, is doing a live stream with a rep. I already read that. Um, did he do a good job? How was that florist interview? I don't know. I don't think I saw that. Or is it upcoming? If it's upcoming, I'll try to catch it. Kirby Allison. What is the most underrated fragrance? That's a very hard question. I've showcased a lot of hidden gems on my channel. There's a lot of fragrances that just are not talked about, are just not mentioned, and there's a lot of good ones. Uh, I don't know. I don't know. I think that La Vies Belle, like Eclat, is for the ladies. I think it's highly underrated, and I think it's a great fragrance. But it's a little bit sweet. A lot of people out there think it's a little bit cloying, but it has great performance. Absolutely solid performance. If you're asking for a gentleman, it might be something like that J. Per EDP. If you're asking for a younger guy, I'm trying to think of maybe some of the least um, represented fragrances out there that are so good. Um, try, that Zurius Rouge is good, but I'm trying to think of something else to maybe wow y'all. That's not discontinued. That it's so hard to get, or it's over expensive on the gray market. You know, something that's overtly expensive. What else is out there? Um, maybe something like Dzing by like Artisan. Have y'all tried that? I really want to get Dzonka, but it's always sold out. Every time I try to get Dzonka, it's sold out by like Artisan. There's Bulgari. There's the Eau de Noir. There's the T series. There's a lot of fragrances that are forgotten about out there that are good. So it's hard to say which one's the best. It really is. Luke is Poe is in the house. Banjo. I saw your tag. I still gotta do that video. I got so many videos to do, but thanks for actually tagging me. He's an upcoming reviewer. He has a really funny. He has a cool kind of witty, dry humor. If that's who I think you are, Luke over there, Lucas Poe. He's a really cool guy, and really cool guy. I kind of get vibes that you're like a friend of Boris. Do you know Boris? Over there, Life of Boris. Do you watch that kind of stuff? I feel like you're a cool guy who'd watch that with me. So Casey says my clothes aren't cheap. I don't know. I don't want to damage them, but maybe just to spray on shirts. Yeah, if your fragrance doesn't leave a color on your skin, and if you spray from a distance, like don't put a spray directly into your shirt. But if you do it at a distance, it probably won't hurt your clothes. It probably won't be too much of a problem. But you're awesome, authentically Benjamin. The truth always shines through. Romantic, dark setting where you are too, must say. Hey Carly, glad you like it. We need to get some wine. Making sense. What's up, bud? Hey, how you doing? Casey says, when I go to the store and smell the fragrances, I'm wrong, something wrong, and what I like. Example, you Saint Laurent Y. I love it in store, but it's too sweet after a few wears. I don't like YSL Y either. To me, it wasn't. I didn't like how it was blended, and I thought I did think it was oddly sweet. And I like ginger as a note, but the ginger was just too laid back. The ginger was calm and was like almost like a candied ginger. It wasn't my thing either, but sometimes you can trick yourself. Sometimes that's why you got to test the fragrance a couple times and hopefully try to do samples before you blind buy. So, anyone else enjoy the fragrance when it mixed with a cigarette smell? I do like smoky smells. I do like tobaccos. Maybe you should buy some tobacco oil. You know, buy some concentrated oil, some birch tar, some smoke, or maybe even some tobacco, and layer it with your fragrances. Wine sounds so good to me. Yeah, that'd be awesome, Carly. I hope that you're doing well. I hope that you're relaxing and doing well over there in your little fragrance life. I hope everybody's having a fantastic weekend. I hope that you're doing great. Really, I really do. To me, today was a pretty good, darn good day. I'm gonna relax a bunch tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll cook up something good too. So, y'all know I like to cook. So, I always got something. I always got something, and I like spices. I'm not afraid of spices. But any other thoughts? Any other questions? We're at I see 143 minutes. I'm in the dark. We're approaching the 2 hour mark. Have we had a good live? Do I need to wrap up now? I'm feeling that we're at a good point. But if you have any questions, let me know. And if you did have questions, if you feel unfulfilled, if you didn't get enough of me, if you wanted more, feel free to message me on Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger, and I'd be happy to help you guys. And we might. It was really cloudy today. We might get a thunderstorm or something coming in. It's getting really windy, so I need to get out of here. I hope that y'all are good, everybody. Be safe, be well, be careful. Be smelling great. I know that y'all are. Wear what you love. And thank you for being my fellow friends and fragrance enthusiasts. Thank you for the love. Thank you for your enthusiasm and your passion for fragrance as well. Y'all are one reason that I keep, I continue this fragrance journey. If I didn't have your support, if I didn't have your friendship, I probably wouldn't feel motivated to keep doing this. Y'all help me continue, the good fragrance fight. So I'll see you next time, everybody. All those are Benjamin endorsed blind buys. Well, be careful with the blind buying, but I hope that you like what you buy. So, Bravius, thank you, Ben. You're awesome, dude. Great to catch you, Benjamin. You take care. You too, Carly. I hope that you're doing good over there with your sassy, beautiful little self. And Bravius, I trust your nose more than mine. Well, thank you. That's humbling. I'm glad that you appreciate my nose. I'm happy to help share you my nose experience anytime. I'll see you, everybody. Be safe, everybody. Be well again. And have a good one, everybody. Can y'all hear the wind? It's getting crazy. I'll see you, everybody. Bye.